Welcome everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Michelle Marchant Johnson, and she's a relationship coach at Love Life Coaching, and I'm so excited to have her here today because today we're talking about the best ways to meet and talk to eligible men. And I have to say, this is probably the hottest topic because it's the number one question I get asked by women every single day. So before we jump into this though, Michelle, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and how you became a relationship coach.
Thank you, Suzanne, and thanks for inviting me to be here with you. So I, like many people who are in the love, dating, and relationship industry, found my way to this work through my own long and winding journey to love. I used to joke around and say that I was going to write a book called Dating for Decades, chronicling all of my dating adventures and mishaps. Mm-hmm. And at one point I thought it might be like the Encyclopedia Britannica and have like 26 volumes. But I did ultimately seek support and help after being a single woman for many years, and was able to make some discoveries about myself in terms of some self-sabotaging patterns, thoughts, and behaviors that had been blocking me from attracting the right man. And I met and married my husband at age 43, became an ecstatic first-time bride. We've now been married for about 10 years. And because of what I learned on my own journey and the depth of satisfaction and joy I've found in my own relationship, I've now been privileged to help many women on their own path to love.
Awesome. Well, that's a great story. Well, let's jump into it. So tell us your first best tip on how a woman can meet and talk to eligible men.
Yeah, first of all, I love this topic, Suzanne, and there's so much we could talk about here, but I want to just offer one thing before I jump right into the tip, and that is that I sometimes believe that we as women, and I've been there myself, as single women, we forget the power that we have in creating the life that we want and creating our own opportunities and destiny in this area of life. So I get that you don't have control over someone else, but my first tip is that it's important for you to create opportunity for yourself to meet and attract eligible men. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I think if it's something that's really important to you, I think you actually want to create a plan, whether it's on your own or in conjunction with a coach or whoever that is willing to support you, so that you have strategies in place, and I believe both online and offline, where you can at least get up to bat. I know that I've spoken to so many women over the years that are just in such a routine, going to work, coming home at night, doing the same thing every day, and wondering why they're not meeting someone.
Yeah, and that's very, very true. And I will tell you, when I've asked people, well, what are you doing to meet the right man? And what I always notice is that people will always say just one or two things. And I'm like, well, clearly that's not enough, because I know if you lost your job tomorrow, you would do everything in your power to find the right job. You wouldn't just do one or two things. You would do a myriad of things to find the right job. So if finding the right man and getting into that relationship is that important to you, then you should do way more than two things. So
yeah, and so I think that people don't want to be intentional about this sometimes because they equate that with being desperate, right? And they don't want to appear desperate. But there's a huge distinction between being intentional about your love life and being desperate. And I think creating a plan and creating opportunity for yourself to get out there to meet new people in whatever way is a really good beginning. Shall I share a second tip now?
That would be great.
Okay, so this one is a little less tangible, but I think it's really important, and then we'll go into something a little more tangible on our next tip. But I think it's really, really important. One thing that I've noticed is that sometimes we're so busy in our lives and so caught up in everything that we're doing, our responsibilities and our challenges in life, that we don't really even stop and notice people. And we don't notice men that may be around us in places that we may not have ever thought of before. And the reason I bring this up is that I've had a number of clients who, even after we've created their plan, that included both online and offline opportunities for them, they've met someone in what we might call a serendipitous way. But I believe it's because they were in the moment and they were taking time to notice someone. So just as a really quick example, one of my clients who I'd been working with for a while, she went to like a Greek festival in her town, and she struck up a conversation with a man as she was standing in line to get some food. They ended up having a really nice conversation. They were in a public place. She felt safe. They had lunch together. They ended up in a relationship and getting married. But she said what had shifted for her is that she had her eyes open. She said, otherwise I probably would have been standing there texting on my phone and never even noticed him.
Well, that is so true, because I see a lot of people blocking themselves by being on their phone all the time. And men actually tell me all the time that they won't approach a woman when she's on her phone or she's on her iPad because they think they'll be bothering her. So I think, Michelle, you are so right, is you need to start noticing people around you and you need to put down that phone. So what's your next tip?
So my next tip is, it's fairly clear what it means to do online dating and some of the offline opportunities you might have thought of. Most people think of those being like the two potential ways that you can meet someone. And I think those are all really, really important and really true and should be part of your overall plan for creating opportunity for yourself. But I like to take this a little deeper, particularly on the offline piece. And so what I often do with my clients, and I could recommend for you ladies out there, is that you actually take the time to do some really deep internet searches and look for events, whether they be business events or cultural events or community events or things like that that you might be able to attend, where you might just have an opportunity to see and interact with new people. One of the things that worked really effectively for me was that when I was single, I went to a lot of business events, after hours networking events or technology type events, or there was even a convention that comes through town from time to time. It's kind of like the men's show, and they have like cars and all kinds of things that men like. And I would attend some of those things, and I inevitably was able to strike up conversations and meet interesting men, and did meet some people that I dated through that process. So that's something that I do with my clients, is in addition to some of the obvious things that you might think about doing offline, in person, to look for new opportunities or new places that you might be interested to visit, or new networking opportunities that you might be able to have, because you just never know who you might meet. And it helps a lot if it's something you have some interest in anyway. But I even went to some things that I wouldn't necessarily have gone to. Like I went to a couple of technology events or a couple of investing events, and I met really interesting employed men there.
Well, and that's so true. And I think that we all forget that the internet and doing a search, we have that at our fingertips and we don't take advantage of it. And I think that's really important. And we tend to keep doing the things the same way. So it's time to start looking outside the box, and that's how you're going to meet more eligible men. Well, these have been some great tips. So Michelle, tell our audience how they can find you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Yes, please just go to lovelifecoaching.com and enter your name and email address, and you'll get 7 attraction principles for attracting the love of your life, and we can stay in touch from there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. If you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you'd like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.